Hi, guys, welcome to today's episode. Now, our guest today is very interesting. Like, his journey has been anything but ordinary in fashion because he trained to be a pilot and then now he's working in the fashion space. And I'm super interested personally to get to know more, and I'm sure you are as well. So, please welcome Tejeshwar Sandhoo. Hi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, I'm so
Really,
glad to
yeah,
have you.
I'm really excited to be here. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah, for a while. And then
Yeah.
you ran off to
I
Mumbai.
ran off to Mumbai thinking that it's going to be better than Delhi.
And
Sorry.
it did. And it wasn't.
It's an acquired taste. So I think it's going to take some time.
Diplomatic answer.
Yeah, because I do have clients from Bombay. So I just have to be a
Nice.
people pleaser there.
Got it. Okay, so I was wondering. So a lot of people, even me, okay, before I knew you as Blueberry Blackout, and I
Yeah.
did not know your name.
Okay.
I mean, I have to admit this.
I
did
love
not.
that, by the way. I love
Yeah?
that, Yeah.
Why? Why do you say you love it?
Because, and I realized I loved it when I did a collaboration with a hotel in Goa and we reached there for a 2-day debaucherous weekend and my key card said Blueberry. It did say my name. And I
Yeah.
was like, how cool is this? And we've grown up watching Julia Roberts in Notting Hill and she doesn't use her
Yeah,
name
yeah,
in a
yeah.
hotel. It was like my mini Julia Roberts moment.
Nice. I
And
love Julia Roberts.
I love Julia
personally.
Roberts.
Yeah.
And growing up and when I actually started Blueberry Blackout, it could be anything. It was a blog first, then it became an Instagram page. Now it's my agency. So I think I got stuck with that tag, which I think is really cool. And there are a few people who work in magazines who actually call me Blueberry.
Yeah.
Probably because they can't remember my name, which is great.
I work in a magazine too, and that's why I knew you as Blueberry.
Yeah.
Okay, so this makes me think, is blueberry like your favorite fruit or something? Like, how did this name come about?
So my first trip to the US was when I was 6 or 7, and I had the biggest muffin from Walmart ever, and
Okay.
that was a blueberry muffin. It was bigger than my face. So I'm so fascinated by it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. It stuck on, over a period of time, and that's how the name came out.
Lovely. So you didn't put much thought into it, but
No.
it turned out to be cool.
Yeah, because when I
Yeah.
started blogging in general, this is 2014, and at that time, blogs, SEO, those
Yeah,
things
they were a
mattered
thing.
a lot,
They
right?
were a thing, yeah.
So if you had a generic name like Dapper something or The Man something, you won't rank better.
Yeah.
So,
I used to, there were some names like Cool Girl, XOXO,
Yeah.
and things like that.
yeah, or the Delhi boy or the
Yeah.
Delhi girl and
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? Which I thought were cool for Instagram, but they were also really generic from the SEO blog point of view, which
Yeah.
a lot of my peers didn't understand.
Hmm.
So I think I wanted something that was a little more digitally inclined rather than, it just sounds cool. Luckily, I think it sounds cool. And
It does, it does.
and it was digitally forward. So
Yeah.
kind of thought of it in the long run that it could be anything at some point.
Got it. So, coming to the main question, okay, like I introduced that, you were training to be a pilot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, wow, from that to doing something completely different. So, were you that child ki, oh, mujhe bade hoke hawa mein udna hai, mujhe plane chalana hai? Were you that kind of a person?
I actually, till first year college, had no idea what I want to do in life.
Okay.
Absolutely no idea, right? I was training to be an aerospace engineer. And then I was like, okay, aviation sounds cool. And then my sister got a job in Air India and now she's a commander. But I was
Okay.
like, okay. And I just would pick up her books and start reading them. And I was like, this sounds interesting. I was always interested in science. I was good at math, quite the anomaly for a gay kid in the country or anywhere else,
Also,
actually.
anybody in fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Math is
I'm not good at math. Okay. Yeah.
And I was really good. In 10th, my score was 97. And
Wow.
in 12th, my score was 99.
Whoa.
So I was like, sorry, a little bit of a flex there. But I was like, okay, I really like math. So might as well do something which is more number driven, but also cool, right? Being a pilot was cool. You travel the world. You have a fancy uniform. You have a great lifestyle. Even though aviation now is down in the dumps and I'm so happy it didn't work out. But
Yeah.
at that point, it was like, okay, the cool profession to have. And I got through India's best flight school at that time, which is the
Hmm.
Indira Gandhi Institute in Raebareli. And they used to take only 90 people a year.
Okay. So how
And
was the process like? Did you have any exams or
yeah,
what?
so
Okay.
I actually sat for the exams twice. So that's why I continued college for about 2 years, because you have to go through a really crucial exam, which is almost at the level of your army exams or your SSB exams.
Okay.
So I did that the first year. I didn't get through. I think I just missed it by a few. And then the second year, when it happened, I was like, okay, this is happening. And then I moved from Delhi, always being like that South Delhi spoiled brat,
Yeah.
to, not even Raebareli, which is a small town, but to like a village 15 kilometers from Raebareli, where the only way to get to Raebareli was one of those shared autos.
My God.
And literally like transported myself to this world which was run by ex-army officials, ex-Air Force officials actually. And we had PT at 5:30 a.m. And the day started like that. Like the first takeoff of the day was 7:30.
So you were like super disciplined.
I was.
You were.
Yeah, now I'm back in Delhi. So like if you call me at 8, I'll probably reach at 9.
Yeah. No, but
Um,
today you reached on
I
time.
reached
So
on time
yeah.
today. I'm very
Yeah.
proud of myself.
Yeah.
Because it's also a professional setup.
Yeah.
I think so. Okay.
Yeah.
A
Okay.
little
You
bit.
can say. Yeah.
But yeah, so like that was like a really different world. Did that for about 2.5 years because it was like a whole course. It wasn't just flying. Like a lot of people go internationally, do it in 8 months and come back. This was like a professional course. It didn't have a degree, but it had a diploma of sorts.
Okay.
Learned a lot, learned how to live outside the house, outside like the comfort of being in Delhi. And then came back, and at that time, actually, aviation was going through a lot. Sahara had shut down, Kingfisher had shut down.
Yeah.
SpiceJet at that point was going through a lot. So they were on the brink of shutdown as well. There were no jobs. And as soon as I came back after spending lakhs of money, there were no jobs in the
So,
industry.
I want to understand. See, you did so much of hard work.
Yeah.
You got out of your comfort
Yeah.
zone. Of course, you spent time, energy, money, everything. And then when you didn't get a job in
Yeah.
that field, were you like shattered? Because I would be.
Uh, Actually, a lot of things happened in life over a period of time, which if we get to that, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'm a person who doesn't get fazed by many things.
Okay.
I actually process it. I take my learnings from it. Obviously, it sucks, right? I mean, you've spent money. You've, like you said, gone through the discomfort. But at the end of the day, you just have to move on. Like anything that doesn't kill you makes you stronger, kind of a situation, right? It sounds cool.
Yeah.
It sucks for days.
There's that typical quote which everybody used to use back then.
But I actually use it now as an experience rather than, oh, it's being told to me in the moment. Better things do happen. I am very spiritual. I feel that everything happens for a reason. So over a period of time, I think life did throw a lot of curveballs. But like, the second you go through them, I feel that that's how your evolution also happens as a human being, as a person, as a professional like person. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And
you sound like Guru
yeah,
Tejeshwar
no, I'm
Baba.
not. I'm not. Please. That's why I wore something like this. I was like, at least my tattoos need to show that I'm a cool
Oh yeah,
guy.
talk about your tattoos, no?
I have 27 tattoos.
Wow,
I have
that's a
27
lot of
I have
tattoos.
5 Pokemon tattoos.
Okay.
I grew up watching Pokemon a lot. And
So what was the thought behind it? You were like, I like Pokemon, तो मैं बना लूंगा.
so I feel that things which stick with you for years, even after like, 2 decades have gone by,
Yeah.
are things which might stick with you for life, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like, I'm obsessed with Britney Spears.
Hmm.
I have a Britney tattoo right here.
Wow.
I have a big toxic above my knee.
Oh wow.
And I have another lyric which I can't say on camera right now.
Yeah.
As well. So I think it's personal as well. You should look at them and be like, okay, I resonate with this every day of my life. But also it could be like just, oh, I really like this, so I'm going to get this.
Yeah.
Also, it needs to look cool, I think.
Have you regretted any tattoo of
Yeah.
yours?
One.
Which
I
one?
have the Mario mushroom on my hand.
Okay.
and I really don't like it. I actually got it on a whim saying, Acha jagah bach gayi hai, let's do something
Oh
cute.
God. Oh
So it was
God.
that. I mean, I wish I could turn back time, but it's okay. I've learned to love it and embrace
Nice.
it.
Nice. So coming back to like the whole aviation journey, and then you suddenly like switch to social media and
Yeah.
fashion, I would say. So why this particular field?
So it was really funny. Santhu, Misra was a friend, and he said, "Okay, listen, I have this job for you."
Hmm.
I said, "But I've never done this. I'm clueless. I don't know if I can do this right now." So he was working with an agency at that time. He's like, "You're gay, you like fashion, you speak okay, your English seems fine. Why don't you give it a try?"
Hmm.
And this is in 2014, 13 actually, in
Okay.
2013. And I was like, I was literally right next to my house. I was like, what could go wrong? If I don't like it, I'll leave it.
Yeah.
And that was my attitude at that time, right? I was still a little bratty, but like now I know what the real world looks like.
Yeah.
So then I joined this agency and I was like, oh, okay. So it was like a completely different world, like you said, like going from like army officials to like 20-year-old girls try to figure out the PR life,
Yeah.
right? And try to make it big. Not a lot of people were from Delhi, and the ones who were really flamboyant. So I was like propelled into this world overnight. Made a lot of mistakes over the way, actually, but learned a lot. Like my first job did teach me a lot. It set the foundation for a lot of things. My first client was DLF Emporio.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm this.
That's a big
Yeah,
client.
that's a big client. And I'm this person who knows nothing, right? I was put on projects. So literally, it was like, I'll tell you my client list. It was DLF Emporio, Ritu Kumar, label Ritu Kumar, Mama Goto, Anupama Dayal, at that time was really big, Anju Modi. And these were my projects at that time,
Wow.
right?
These are
And
big
these are
names.
dream projects for
Yeah.
people who work in
For a
fashion.
first timer,
Yeah.
it's like, my God.
And the thing is, I was still very unfazed because
Yeah.
I was not from that world. So I was clueless. I was like, हाँ ठीक है, client ही तो है,
Yeah.
right?
You know, actually, this makes me think like when you're not from a field
Yeah.
and then when you don't know, like, see, because once you enter something and if you've dreamt about it, it's very hyped in
Yeah,
your head,
yeah.
right? But if something is not hyped
Yeah.
in your head, you're like,
Hi,
ah,
it's normal. I
Yeah.
still remember the DLF marketing head at that time was Neha Lidder. And she called for a meeting on a Friday, right?
Okay.
And this is at Emporio. And I have gone to work in these neon printed pants with a white t-shirt which says awesome. Okay.
Nice.
And the team is like, oh, you're gonna wear this and go for an Emporio meeting. And I'm like, I think so.
Yeah.
Because there's no one else who can do this. And I literally went for the meet. So uninhibited because I was like, okay, great. For me, it's just work. And I reached the meeting and she's like, I love your t-shirt. I love your pants. And I'm like, I swear I didn't plan this.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Friday at work. I literally got out of bed and I was here. So for me, it was like, yes, I respect my work. I respect my clients. I want to do better. But I was unfazed by the, oh, this is really cool. Oh, I want to grow up and work at a Ritu Kumar or a really
Yeah,
big
yeah,
fashion
yeah.
label, right? So for me, it was always that the work matters more than who you're working for and or with, actually. I don't use the word for anymore. And that's what made a difference, I think, and kind of helped me understand the nuances of my job rather than the workplace.
Got it. So the way you were dressed, like when you went,
Yeah.
okay, this makes me think. So when you were training to be like a pilot,
Yeah.
what was like the dress code?
We had
Like,
a
did they
uniform.
expect anything out of you, like,
had a
to be
uniform.
proper and
Yeah, yeah. We had a
everything?
uniform. I had a turban at that time.
Okay.
I had a turban, so I would wake up at 5:30, go for PT, come back, tie a turban, and then wear a uniform. And we had like applets and shit like that. And
So
we
were they
had-
like very strict
Yeah.
about everything? Like,
Yes.
your hair should be this way, your thing.
Completely. So we couldn't enter the mess for lunch or dinner without a collared t-shirt or a shirt
Okay.
tucked in with a belt. If you're wearing jeans, they can't be torn. They have to be a straight fit jeans. And either you wear sandals or you wear closed-toed shoes.
Okay.
It was literally that. And it happened to me so early on that, and I was also in a convent before that. So it's not like it was a huge change. It was like, okay, it's like a little bit of a change, but even a convent school is a lot more strict, right? Like I was
I've been to one
Oh, you
when
ha-
I
you
was
were?
younger, and my God, like, they used to check our nails
Yeah,
every morning.
every
If the shoe
morning.
is polished or not.
Are your socks
like your
the right length?
socks the right length. The skirt should be the right
Yeah.
length because I'm a
Yes.
girl, okay? And like, your hair should be neatly
Yeah.
tucked behind
Yeah.
this,
No
that.
high ponies for
Yeah,
you.
so I understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. And then like I grew up like that. So for me, it was like, oh, I'm used to this, But it was a change because being like, and I came out when I was 16.
Okay.
So I am like this openly gay kid who's just transported from Delhi to a Gaon, literally, and put in like a pool full of homophobes and people who would never get it for 2.5 years. So
So
I
they didn't
think
know about it, or did
I
they?
was pretty out in general. So I'm not the kinds who'd go out and be like, "Hi, I'm Tejeshwar, I'm gay."
Yeah,
I won't
yeah,
say that.
yeah.
If you figure it out, good for you. But if anyone asks me, I obviously answer it the same way. I've always answered it the same way. Um, no point hiding it, I feel, in general. So I think I learned that early on in life without realizing there were no consequences actually, but without worrying about what the consequences could be. Touch would have had a very comfortable like upbringing in general, and
Hmm.
also like when it comes to especially the LGBT aspect of it. Also, when I went to this place, yes, I was like an outcast. People didn't really get it. I didn't have a lot of friends initially, but that never bothered me. I was always like not a loner, but just I liked my own company more than I liked people's.
Yeah, yeah.
And so just
I've
I
heard a
think,
lot, this I've heard from a lot of people in fashion that I like my own
yeah.
company. Is it a thing about the creative field?
Probably. I think a lot of people don't
Hmm.
understand us. They don't understand our ideas and they try to impose the regular way of working on us. I was just watching Modern Family on my way here,
Hmm.
and one of the characters was telling this kid how being different was supposed to be really scary growing up.
Yeah.
And the second you grow up, you want to be different.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you want to try fitting in when you're younger, and then you grow up to be different. And then it's hard for the regular folk
Yeah.
because, all they've done all their lives is be regular.
Hmm.
But I've also realized during my time there and otherwise that a lot of people want to explore so many things. I think with us, like people from the creative field in general, just know what they want and then go for it.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes us away from everyone else and we find our own tribe. So I think it's more of, okay, I like being with my people rather than being with everyone.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, this is absolutely true. I mean, after like shifting to a creative field, like I was also not in one
Yeah.
before, I do feel this difference.
Yeah.
Like there's much more acceptance of who
Yes.
you are
Yeah.
and, the way you want to be. So I think, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it happened to me quite early on, right?
Hmm.
Like, so I realized that I need to come out to my parents when I was 16, which is a
If you
bold
don't
move.
mind me
Yeah.
asking, what was their reaction?
They were confused. My parents come from a very humble background in
Hmm.
general, and but they weren't the kinds who'd be like, "Oh, get out of my house," or like, "I don't understand
Yeah.
this." Like my dad did kind of like try to budge a little bit, um, but I was like, "Okay, you guys don't get it, so why don't we go to therapy?"
Hmm.
And then we went to therapy, and then the therapist told me that they probably will not understand. I was really young. I was like 17, I think, right? Or
That's
16, I
really
can't
young.
remember. And for them, it was like, we don't know how to deal with this.
Hmm.
The it's a phase question kind of came in. And eventually, we started working on other things. You're an adolescent, you're going to be like an adult soon. You go through anger issues at that time, post puberty, and all of that. So, therapist and I worked on that.
Hmm.
And then he said, you know what? I'm going to tell you one thing. Maybe move out at some point,
Hmm.
because I don't know if your parents will ever get it. And now, literally 16 years later, my dad gets it, but there's still a part of him which doesn't. I mean, the dude's touching 70, so I don't expect like
Yeah, yeah.
him to like completely change and undo everything he's
No,
learned.
even my dad's like 50,
Yeah.
55, and I mean, they can't
They
change beyond a
can't.
certain
Yeah. Yeah,
point.
they
Yeah.
can't. I mean, they still get it because you're their like child.
Of course, they love you, they get
Yeah.
it, they support you,
Yeah.
but like if you expect them to talk like
Completely.
us, be
Yeah.
like us,
They
that's not
can't.
gonna be.
And
Yeah.
and if it happens, great. Why not? Like my mom's really cool. So about 4 years ago, my mom used to hate it when I used to watch RuPaul.
Hmm.
And now my mom has seen every episode of Drag Race.
Oh, wow.
She knows all the queens. That's our like lunchtime and dinner time view, right? So
Nice.
I think they've evolved realizing that this will not change. So maybe we should like meet halfway and then kind of figure it out. So a lot of what I do on my Instagram page is also just normalize this a little bit because I have new parents following me or I have people who've grown up
Hmm.
with me, people from school who now text me saying, "Oh, we always knew you'd do something cool," and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So they would silently be spectators but would never come forward at that time because it could be considered different.
Hmm.
And now it's like, okay, I want to educate people to make them understand that it is as normal as you existing. So why are we like trying to like outcast it for some reason?
A true influencer.
Yes, must be done.
Nice. Okay, fine. So, when you worked with Ritu Kumar, okay, she's considered like the OG.
Yeah.
So, what do you think like makes her really stand out? Like, what did you observe?
The dedication, like all the great people I've worked with or the great people in fashion who I've observed, I feel that they're so, and I'm going to use the word crazy, it's not in a negative connotation at all. They're crazy about their work. I think I picked that on really early. So a lot of what I learned from these people who I worked with was the fact that you have to be really passionate about what you do, otherwise, don't do it at all. And I was crazy about aviation as well. It's sad that it didn't work out. But in general, when I saw ma'am, we used to call her ma'am, come to work every day, relentlessly, she would be at work. When I looked at her son Amrish come to work every day, he would be at work every day. You see that dedication, you see that drive, and you're like, okay, if he can do it, then so can I. So it's not the, oh, I have to go to work and my boss is going to make me stay longer. They never used to do that. We had a time that, you can leave from work at this time, you come in at work at this time, which I've heard a lot of other designers don't do. And I don't appreciate that at all. But they had that like kind of demarcation of where the work should stop and like, your personal life should start. Obviously, every job, when you're a junior, especially, or even when you're a senior, comes with its own nuances. But the fact that they're all so passionate, and ma'am especially was so passionate, I think that kind of set the foundation for me to grow and also just be disciplined towards my work. So I think that's where it comes from.
Got it. That's cool. Okay, so I just want to understand that you've also worked with other brands like Limeroad and everything.
Yeah.
So clients like Ritu Kumar or DLF Emporio are luxury clients essentially, and then these are not luxury, right? It's like a general.
Yes.
So what's like the major difference or the demarcation or the way you treat it?
So on one hand, I've done Ritu Kumar, DLF Emporio, Harley Davidson India, and then like you said, Limeroad. When I was in Google, we were a part of the YouTube team, and YouTube Shopping was one of my activations. And YouTube Shopping was just launching in India, and I was heading one division which was responsible for organic marketing of YouTube Shopping. So shoppable shorts and YouTube lives. And comparing a 1 lakh motorcycle or a 1.5, 2 lakh lehenga to a 150 rupees eye pencil is something that we were selling on those YouTube lives, right? I think the biggest thrill that you get as a marketer is that you're able to cater to all of these worlds at the same time, because when you're staying in India, it's literally 2 or 3 different worlds colliding, right? If you know now, the market that does really well is your tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, right?
Absolutely.
The amount of money that these people can spend on smaller products is any day crazier than what people in tier 1 cities can spend on smaller things. So I feel that understanding the consumer became really important. So deep diving into literally how the consumer thinks, the personas, like you call them, right? So the second we get a client, or even when we were working before, we used to do this activity of humanizing who the consumer is.
Okay.
Understanding what they do. Is it a housewife? Is it someone who sits at a shop? Is it a housewife at home? 2 different housewives, right? Someone sitting at home, just making sure that, her brunch happens at the mall and then she goes and shops. Whereas a housewife who literally has 5 hours when her kids are away to be on the phone and then, buy something for herself. So it's literally understanding that, and how do you then convince the brand that this is the way you should market it. And the brand needs to see it. Otherwise, it's not gonna succeed, because you're trying to market your product to a completely different set of audience.
Yeah.
And the second you do that, we've seen a lot of brands die a slow death because of that. They want to be positioned as premium, but your TG is like someone who's not. And that's okay.
So positioning is like
positioning
super
is super important, right? And I think a lot of new age fashion brands like a 43188, for example, like a Siddharth Titler, know exactly who their audience is. And they literally go for them collection after collection. I feel that a lot of older designers who've been in the system, your legacy designers, are obviously like, they're amazing at what they do. There's no comparison. But a lot of them also are really rigid in the way they see marketing in general. A lot of them don't love marketing. A lot of people hate social media. But unfortunately,
I
it's
think
your,
earlier it used to be more of like word of mouth
yes,
and things like that.
or
Like,
conventional
yeah,
marketing, right?
conventional marketing. And I think shifting from that might be difficult
Yeah.
for them.
And
Yeah.
and it's okay, but at the end of the day, you also have to sustain a business.
Yeah.
Like there are brands like a Gaurav Gupta or a Tarun Tilyani who've made that shift, and Amit Agarwal even, right?
Hmm.
They have figured so beautifully what works for them.
Yeah.
And they've kind of tapped into a completely different audience, right? They've made that space which is more aspirational, and I won't say accessible because it's not.
I love the honesty. Yeah.
It's not, it's
I
true.
love the
But
honesty.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is aspirational.
Hmm.
Someone who's 19 or 20 now would want to wear a certain brand, when she gets married or when he gets married. And I think the aspiration factor there is really good. But a lot of people are also realizing now that only Bollywood does not matter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Something that a Janvi Kapoor would wear, or, any of the male actors would wear. Sorry, I don't watch movies. So I'm
My
really,
God.
I don't watch movies. I can't even remember like an actor's name. Um,
Man, that's so different from me, but okay.
yeah. So I'm trying now. I'm trying slowly.
No, please. After this podcast ends and you leave, I'm going to send you a list
List.
of
Okay.
movies. Like, tell me what genre do you
I've
like?
not seen your old movies, by the way, except maybe DDLJ. I've not seen any of your like
That's
Dil
okay.
To
But there are
Pagal Hai
some
type of
legendary
movies.
movies which you
Okay.
should
Okay.
watch. Yeah.
Yeah, send me a list.
I will send you a list.
And the second
Yeah.
I tell someone, I'm like, I haven't seen Dil To Pagal Hai, they're like, dude, like, back off. They get
Um,
offended. Are you getting offended?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it either? Oh my God. And you call yourself a movie buff?
Please, okay, I am a movie
Guys.
buff, but I have missed a few things as well.
Okay, we should
Yeah.
watch it together
Yeah,
then.
we'll watch it
Done. It's a
together.
movie date.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
brands are realizing that only Bollywood does not matter
Yeah.
anymore. Um, your team needs to know exactly how to market you.
Hmm.
And if they don't know that, or maybe you need to give them that direction, but be ready to be told that you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think लोग ego पे ले लेते हैं. And
I
then they're
think
like,
that's in life in
yeah,
general. When you give a constructive criticism
yeah.
also, they'll be like, I'm never going to talk to this
Yeah,
person
yeah.
again.
That
Yeah.
they don't like it. A lot of people don't like it. So till date, we haven't pitched to anyone. So we've not gone out and had a meeting saying hire us. Maybe long back, it's like a conversation, but I've never made a pitch deck in my life
Wow.
since we made the agency. I think it was word of mouth. We were very blessed.
Hmm.
I'm not saying I won't do it. I'm just saying till now. And there's a thin line between clear and being arrogant. So I'm not being arrogant at all. I'm being very clear in how it's been. We actually like to have a conversation and make it a discussion rather than you telling me what to do or me telling you what to do.
Yeah.
The brand, it's your money, but how do I kind of help you place that money in different ways and make it better for you is my job, right? So let me do my job and let's have a conversation. Let's go for
Nice.
dinner, but listen to me. And literally that's why we've had clients who worked with us for 4 years, 6 years. And we actually call ourselves digital therapists.
I read
You
that. I
read
was going to
that?
ask you. Yeah. Yeah.
So should I talk about that
Of
now?
course,
Okay.
of course.
So digital therapist was so funny because I think we were working with a lot of designers, right? So a lot of times I would tell my team, okay, I have to get on a 1 hour call with someone. And they're like, a 1 hour
1 hour
call?
call.
Like, what does that even mean? Is that a therapy session? And I was like, you know what? It is a therapy session. Because a lot of people who work in fashion or in media or in lifestyle in general don't have the right people to talk to about business and how their personal branding flows into their business, right?
That's true.
And they don't know how to basically personify themselves for their brand. So a lot of what we do is not just, okay, I'm going to work on your brand. We'll build you up in a way that we empower you a little bit, right? So let's say
Therapist.
Yeah, what?
Therapist. Total therapist
right?
behavior. Yeah.
And then, if you're not working with me over a period of time, there are clients who were with us for 4 years, 5 years, and they're not working with us. We're on great terms with them. And we've taken their hand and taken them to a point that they know exactly what to ask to their next agency. I am not scared about you finding out my strategies. What I can do, I can do. What you can do, you can do.
Yeah.
But at least know where you're putting your money. If you don't know that, then how will you grow? There are agencies out there. And we started the agency. So the agency is called Blueberry Inc. again, Monsters Inc. is something I'm
Yeah.
like a huge
I
fan
was
of
thinking
growing
of
up.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Blueberry, as you already know.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be an inclusive space, obviously. We wanted it to be also inclusive for all types of clients. So we don't just have a really big fashion label or a really small fashion label. It's literally everybody. Um, we have someone like a Siddharth Teitler who's been a pioneer in what he does. And then we have a brand called Veda, which is owned by this woman in Gurgaon who runs a unit out of her basement.
Okay.
And we're giving her great like results, right?
So there's a big
yeah,
disparity, but all kinds of people are there.
correct. And I think, but we want to empower mid-range to lower level brands because a lot of these brands are aspirations of people and they die because every agency is gunning for the big clients.
Yeah.
They just want to work with your big clients. And every smaller agency does not have the experience or the expertise to actually help these guys. So we wanted to make that ecosystem where we're available for everyone. Literally, like if anyone says we're a tech brand, we're like, okay, come on board. The sponsors of Big Boss last year, like the tech sponsors were our clients for a year.
Oh.
We helped with their Big Boss amplification. So I think it's so diverse, and there was actually no agency who's doing this. So we met a lot of different agencies trying to understand their model, and I was actually meeting them to consult with them because I was in Google for 4 years,
Yeah.
and I got laid off
Oh.
suddenly one night.
Man.
Um,
Is it that time when Google had a
yes,
lot of
it
layoffs?
was the first layoffs that happened
okay.
last year around Feb.
Yeah.
It was the best day of my life.
Wow. Wow. I never thought anybody
was-
would say that.
It was the best day of my life. I was living in a simulation. It was a great workplace, great environment.
I want to know, just a fun question
Yeah.
diverting from that. How was like the food and
Food was
the sleeping
amazing. Oh my
pods and
God.
everything? Tell us about
So
that.
I would never sleep at work. Like I have taken like naps on the table, but I would never go to a pod and sleep.
Yeah.
The gyms were great. The infrastructure is obviously amazing. The food is great but monotonous.
Okay.
It's like living in a simulation, right? So if you book a cab, you go to work, you go for breakfast, you go for coffee, you go for lunch, you go for a snack, and then you head home in the same cab.
Wow.
It's
That's a lot of food.
You can do it. Yeah, that was a lot of food, right? But the thing is, it was so comfortable that you forget that being comfortable and being complacent is also really negative. So when it happened, I do thank them for my time there, but I did realize that my personal growth in general was something that was really important to me.
Comfort kills growth.
Comfort does, right?
Yeah.
And it's like being in any job. So I won't specifically say Google, it can be any job. And you can literally be like, okay, I've been here too long. And a lot of people get to that point after 8 years or 9 years.
Yeah.
And a friend said that to me. They were like, you wouldn't have left this job if this job wouldn't have left you. So other people could see it. I could see it because I was that chill about it, right?
Yeah.
And since 2020, my sister was telling me to start an agency. And she's like, I'll sponsor you. We'll figure it out. But I wasn't ready. And, it reached a point where I had no options.
Okay.
Because I was not getting hired anywhere because of the salary, increase. Also, there are no jobs at the moment. Like marketing is a field which is facing like a problem. But I think all jobs right now at
All
this
jobs
point,
right
right?
now, yeah.
Especially
I know so
like-
many MBA kids who are just
Yeah,
doing internships,
correct.
and I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are an MBA
it's quite
kid.
sad.
Yeah.
It's quite sad. But I actually believe that applied knowledge and acquired skill, and don't hate me for this, is a lot stronger than any course. I've not done a digital marketing course in my life.
Yeah.
There was a question that you wrote, and I don't know if you're covering that or not, but it said, how do you stay on top with digital marketing trends? We don't.
Okay.
I don't read a single blog. I don't go through any pages. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't.
Please listen to your podcast.
I will listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
But we don't do any of that.
Okay.
Because what we've done is build an ecosystem of, I call them vendors, only from a professional term, but ideally partners from different agencies, freelancers, people who are not even in Delhi, people who have not even met, and made an ecosystem where we're all self-sustaining.
Yeah.
We help each other. We take learnings from one another, learnings from another client, and then apply it somewhere else. A lot of the learnings come from my own blog. So, the things that I experiment with on Blueberry Blackout would then be applied for a client on Blueberry Ink, right?
Okay.
All the pages you see on Instagram or all the reels that you see saying 5 hacks to like
Yeah, I've seen
get
a
a
lot
better
of those.
reach. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you've tried a few of them as well.
Yeah.
They are okay, but none of them have worked for me or my clients at all. We
Okay.
did kind of experiment. We were like, okay, maybe they know what they're doing. We did that for about 2 months and we were like, no, it doesn't work. And in most cases,
I
it
think
doesn't.
that's just a way to get them reach, I
Correct. I
feel.
mean, they're
Yeah.
trying to build their own profile, which is great.
Yeah.
And it is clickbait at the end of the day, right? But what works for your own brand or for your page is not a cookie cutter approach at all. And we say no to F&B clients
Okay.
only because they want the cookie cutter approach. They want to know what
Ah.
the other restaurant's doing, right? And digital does not function that way. We can't do the same thing. We can't run the same offers. For a lot of fashion brands, now they are realizing this, right? And there was a fashion label who's come to me at least 4 times in the past 2 years. And I literally, on the last call, said, "Are you willing to give me control?" And I didn't hear back from them after that.
Oh man.
You know?
Yeah.
And they did work with someone later who now has left them as well. But it was just like, they don't listen. And
Got
that's
it.
my issue. Like, it is not a one-way conversation. You've not hired me to tell me what I need to do. Because
Yeah.
clearly there's a reason why you're looking out for me. And it's because whatever you've done till now hasn't worked. So maybe, you need to give the reins to someone else. And I'm not running your business for you. Like, I'm not doing that. But at least understand where we're coming from.
Got it. Lovely. So, I'll just ask you one last thing related to this topic.
Okay.
I've never been a Snapchat user,
Okay.
okay? And I always thought that Snapchat is just for like fun and just
Yeah,
clicking pictures and
frivolous.
frivolous. I'm like, what is this even? Why are
We've all
people using
I've
it?
used it for a lot of frivolous reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now I'm seeing so many people
Yeah.
earning so much money
Yeah.
out of Snapchat.
Yeah.
How does that
So
work?
Snapchat has actually become it's made a comeback, right? And Snapchat marketing has become really big. So they were testing out ads a few years ago, but I think now they've hit that sweet spot where it's working, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of so we also consult with AI brands. We consult with a lot of new tech startups, where a lot of your Insta and Facebook or Google even does not work. So we're actually doing interesting things like Discord marketing. We're doing Telegram marketing.
Wow.
We are kind of doing, we are getting into Snapchat marketing right now. It is big for the brands. They know how to run ads, but building a community on Snapchat is a lot easier than building a community anywhere else
Why? Why so?
because it is built on a community model. It is
Okay.
built on your public profiles being followed by a lot of people and you engaging with them, right? And it's easier than in Instagram because Instagram comes with its clutter.
Yeah.
And Snapchat is just that. They've sifted it. They've made a model which is just so easy to access. You look at people's stories, you reply to them, that's it.
I regret leaving Snapchat.
You can join it back. We can help you out.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it does work, especially for the new age audience. I love how all the designers, whenever they're doing a meeting, are like, okay, we need to target the Gen Z. But you're still talking to that 35-year-old woman who's buying your clothes, right?
Yeah.
But you want to position yourself as a Gen Z brand. So, like, I feel that there's a lot of like miscommunication there. But new age brands who are thrift stores, for example, are using Snapchat or are using Instagram as a medium to talk to just the consumer, right? And the TG for a Snapchat is literally Gen Z. Whereas on
Got it.
Instagram, you still have like a skewed audience, right? It will be 18 to 24, but it will
Yeah.
also be 24 to 35.
Yeah.
Like for me, Gen Z is not a part of Gen Z is my audience, but I'm still the person who started the Instagram page 10 years ago and my audience has grown up with me. If I forget that, then I'm missing out on my biggest TG.
Absolutely.
People don't realize that.
Okay, fine. So, anyway, now that was enough about marketing and everything, and we gained like a lot of insights. So, coming like to like the fashion and the fun part of
Yeah.
it, like a little bit.
Okay.
So, what are the growing trends when it comes to the menswear space, which you have observed, and you think that, yeah, this is going to be big like next year?
So I think a lot of boys and men in general now want to experiment a lot. But there are no brands in India who are doing like really crazy things. Like if I want a good pair of baggy jeans I have to get them from a Bershka in Dubai. Bershka is coming to India, I don't know when, but
Hmm.
a lot of merchandising that happens at the back end of these international stores in India is terrible.
Hmm.
Like you can shop from ASOS, the duties are reduced,
Yeah.
but I was trying to buy a pair of Nike shorts, and Nike as a brand on ASOS for India is not registered. I
What?
just found out.
Okay.
Okay, so if I click on Converse and I'm on the UK website and I go on the India website, we can't get it here. So the issue is that a lot of us want to experiment, go all out. I think one of the biggest trends people want to explore is street fashion still.
Hmm.
I don't think it's going out anytime soon, but bringing that whole Y2K vibe is something that boys are like interested in doing. But it's not happening to the same like level that it can. So we want to go big, but it's not happening at the moment. In terms of the brands we currently have, I feel that they are pushing the boundaries, but also there's a thin line between going crazy and selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in terms, that's why I feel that in trends for men, no one's really pushing the envelope a lot.
Hmm.
I mean, you have brands like a Not One who's doing crazy streetwear. You have brands like a Siddharth Titler who's going all out with like his frills and things that you know wear to like a bachelorette or a bachelor party in Jaipur, for example, right?
Yeah.
Um, but apart from like a few people in the industry, I don't think there are a lot of people who are doing crazy stuff.
Got it. Okay, so this reminds me that we just had Couture Week right
Yeah.
now, and we don't have much time to discuss everything.
Yeah.
But I'll just ask you a few things. So, what was like your favorite show without any bias?
Why can't I be biased?
You can't. Or
Okay,
like
but
even if you don't want
yeah,
to name like a brand or a
yeah,
label or whatever, like what were some of the elements
yeah.
that really stood out for you in this particular
So
Couture
I
Week?
feel that, and now we can come back to trends maybe. I'm going to talk about couture presentations and not just Couture Week because one of the best shows I saw was outside Couture Week.
Hmm.
I think the Shantanu Nikhil presentation
Yeah.
was next level.
Yeah, I
Like,
was there too. It was
yeah,
crazy.
wasn't it
Yeah.
amazing? Like,
Yeah.
it was so good. And I think then the trend aspect of it was 70s, right? It was,
Hmm.
I wear a lot of Korean pants. I wear a lot of like slightly more bell bottomish
Hmm.
pants, which or jeans actually, which go like completely like off your shoes. I think that's really cool. And they brought back 70s and mixed it with couture with your crop jackets and like your Philly shirts and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which I think is so on trend and so cool. Every boy works out these days, right? Every man who wants to look good is at the gym.
Yeah.
So they want to show off their chest. And I think the whole idea of a frilled shirt with like an open, like sort of thing works really well. Um, and I think, not being biased, but honestly, I'm a huge fan of Siddharth Titler. He is a
I
client
knew
as
that
well.
was coming.
It
That's why
had
I said
to.
don't be
But it
biased.
had
Yeah.
to. I
Yeah.
love the guy in general,
No, but
but
the
also
concept of the show was also
was
pretty
really cool.
nice.
You know,
Yeah.
he brings like this whole element of something again, like, and I learned this from him over a period of time. And you asked me about the tattoos, something that resonates with, you know, like your likings or your growing
Hmm.
up or things you were fascinated with. And I think he did it so beautifully. And the whole show, the way that everyone was either dressed as a goddess or a god, I
Yeah.
think it really worked, right?
Caligula
Yeah, how
feast.
cool was that, right?
Yeah.
And but I think also Indian, the way he draped the dupattas on boys to make, give it that Roman feel, I
Hmm.
think was a very new way of looking at Indian wear and at couture.
I saw this, like even in some other shows, I
Hmm.
saw like the scarf was used on a guy, like in a
Yeah,
very unique way. I don't
yeah,
want to really name
yeah,
labels and designers,
yeah,
but like, I did see like
yeah.
a innovation and
Correct.
styling and
For men
everything
especially,
for
right?
men's.
Like
Yeah.
the accessories used were used across genders this time, right? Which I
Hmm.
thought was really cool.
Yeah.
There were boys who were wearing a headband and there were girls who were wearing a headband at the same time.
Yeah.
Scarves, like you mentioned, a lot of the embroidery flowed from boys to women and the same embroidery was used, the
Yeah.
same patterns were used, which I thought was really interesting. So I think the line is getting blurred between genders for sure, and a lot of men are now comfortable experimenting. They don't just want to conform to the regular, oh, I'm going to wear like a shirt and a pair of pants. Now
Hmm.
they want to experiment. They want to look as good as their wives or their girlfriends or their boyfriends,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. That's where I think the menswear trend is kind of going. But also, we have a long time to go for me to pick out like 10 best trends for menswear.
Yeah.
India is evolving in the menswear market. We need to give it about 2 to 3 years for people to really come into their own.
Lovely, awesome. So
Yeah.
that was the end of our
Oh no.
conversation. I know, I feel sad too. So before we end, we usually play this game
Okay.
and you have to be quick about it, okay? So I'll
Okay.
ask you like 5 questions
Okay.
and you have to answer them quickly.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why do you sound nervous?
Because I'm really bad at this. My brain
Okay,
just starts working too much.
fine.
Okay.
Okay, your go-to snack on a long, hectic day.
A pizza.
Okay.
Any day.
A book you think one must read in their life.
I don't read books.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anything that you think one must do in this lifetime.
Just go for it, man.
Okay. Yeah. What's in your bag is a question is actually mostly asked to women.
Yeah.
And, I've seen so many videos and everything. But if I had to ask you, ki, what do you carry in your bag? So then what would I find?
Oh no. Mint for sure.
Okay.
Because I have been a frivolous person for a long period in life, I do carry extra underwear.
Okay. Wow. TMI. Yeah.
I carry extra, and I've always done that for the past 10 years.
Okay.
A perfume for sure, a hairbrush, and my laptop. I go nowhere without my
This was
laptop.
actually interesting. Now, whichever guy comes on the show, I'm going to
Yeah.
ask them this
Yeah,
question.
you should. You
Yeah,
should.
I should.
Why not?
Okay. What's your way to celebrate a milestone?
Just fire up the PlayStation and just sit down
Wow.
and like be by myself. I literally take a day off.
Okay.
I take a day off. I don't do much, like even if it's my birthday or even if it's letting go of something or getting something big, I take a day off. I just give myself some time because it's like, you've gone through the process of reaching where you've reached. So enjoy like a day's break.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. An unusual collab request you've ever received?
Unusual. They did ask me to market lipsticks once.
Wow. You should have done it.
I should have.
Yeah.
And I almost did, and I think it was a mistake. But I would have. Why
Fine.
not?
Why not?
Yeah, so that.
Okay, so lovely. That was the end.
Thank you
And
so much.
how was your experience?
It was amazing. Like you said, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
You've been great. I think you guys do such good research on this. It really comes through, and I had a great time.
Thank you. I had a
Yeah.
great time too. So
Awesome.
we had a great time. I hope you guys had a great time. And thank you for watching. And see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.